Innovation, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR), under the leadership of PM Shri Narendra Modi, Union Minister for Science and Technology Dr. Jitendra Singh, and Director General Dr. N. Kalai Selvi, CSIR has been at the forefront of technological and scientific advancements. CSIR 4th Paradigm Institute, also known as CSIR-4PI, located
Hello, hello, yes, hello, 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 check one, hello, check one, two, three. Hello. Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello. Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello. Check. YouTube streaming. Check. Hello. It's coming.
Videos are what we played.
check it. Check one. Live stream checking. 1, 2, 3. Check it once. Live stream audio check 1. Live stream. Live stream checking now. Hello. Sure. Live stream check 1. Check 1, 2, 3. Live stream check 1.
A very good morning to one and all present here. Friends, as you all know, today we have assembled on the eve of inauguration of our 1 week, 1 lab program of our institute. I request our head, Dr. Sridevi ma'am, to kindly accompany our chief guest, Dr. Yagnik, founder head of our institute, and Professor Annapurni ma'am, Director, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and also Dr. Parvez onto the dais, please. Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll begin our program with an invocation by Miss Shweta.
A very good morning to everyone present here. This prayer song is about Lord Ganesha, invoking his blessing for this wonderful event. Shri Ganesha Charanam Gajanana Devamunivar Paniyum Dayakara Shri Ganesha Charanam Nahagabaranane நான்மறை போற்றும் நாமனே பிரணவரூபனே ஜய ஸ்ரீ கணேசா சரணம் பாதம் நம்பும் ராமதாச வரதனே மோதக பிரியனே கௌரி சூதனே ஆதிதேவர் உனதின் அருள் இல்லையே வேதலும் மாலும் செய்தொழிலுண்டோ ஸ்ரீ கணேசா சரணம். Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. Now, I request the dignitaries on the dais and Dr. Pashelkar also to please light our lamp. Shastri sir also. Now, I request our head, Dr. Sridevi ma'am, to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Yajnik, with a bouquet, please. Now I request Dr. Imtiaz Ahmad Parvez to please welcome our guest of eminence, Professor Annapurni Subramaniam, please. Thank you, ma'am and sir. At first, now I would like to give a small brief about our OWOL CSIR-4PI program and how it started. The 1 week 1 lab program is a very long-sighted vision and initiative taken by our Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh. As our Minister, Dr. Singh, once said that even though CSIR institutes and laboratories does enormous works in their respective domains as well as interdisciplinary science, these works are being done inside huge walls. This has led to a situation where a common man, a school student, or any science enthusiast is unable to connect with the work done by our eminent scientists. Over the past decades, this has created a huge vacuum between CSIR and general public at large, which has led to CSIR institutions being named as typical government institutions, with very less output and outreach. This very lapse has been addressed very gracefully by our beloved Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, through 1 week 1 lab initiative. The 1 week 1 lab program is an unique opportunity for both the general public and our scientists to interact in person and get a feel of real world pressing problems. This is also a unique opportunity for CSIR institutes and labs to showcase the quantum of research and work they are doing and what they are delivering to the society. The magnanimous work done by CSIR labs is often overlooked by the general public, much owing to lack of effective outreach and quality interaction between CSIR and all its stakeholders. OWOL initiative is a small step in reducing this gap and to change the perspective of common man towards CSIR labs. We at CSIR-4PI is organizing OWOL program from 10th to 15th July of this 2023. This has been a real blessing for CSIR-4PI and our scientists to showcase the work in data science, supercomputing and engineering services. Now, I request our head, Dr. Sridevi ma'am, to please welcome the august gathering.
Good morning and warm welcome to our chief guest and founder head CMAX. That was formerly we were CMAX before we got repositioned to a full-fledged institute in 2013. And my welcome to Professor Annapurni Subramaniam, Director IAA, to our organization. You know, I'm really pleased that she could make it, because you know I invited her at a very short this thing, because this is a huge 1 week program is like a huge thing which we need to pull off. You know, there was some confusion, some glitches, so all that, so I'm sorry for that, and my warm welcome to you. And then I also welcome Dr. Narhari Shastri, NEAST Director, and my close friend from the Director Fraternity, CSIR Director Fraternity, and I request Sharda to welcome him with the bouquet. Formally welcome him with the bouquet. And then I welcome Dr. Abhay Pashilkar, Director NAL, the most powerful person in this gathering. I am so happy that he could make it to this event, and I booked him for a half day, so in advance. So I request Rajendran to welcome him with a bouquet. I welcome Mutkavi, our former head of CSIR-4PI. So by the time he was head, and then I booked him for the whole day today. He is also taking part in the day one Jigyasa activities. And I request Patra to welcome with a bouquet of flowers. I welcome Dr. Purnima Rupal, head SCCD and earlier head DGED to this thing. She is a very close friend of mine and my go-to person in the headquarters. So warm welcome. I request Anil Kumar to welcome her with a bouquet of flowers. Yeah, I welcome Professor Gaur, with whom I worked for, since I came to this institute. Formerly, I was working as a scientist at CSIR CBRI and I came here to CMAX. It was CMAX on transfer. Professor Gaur, and I request Gauda to welcome me with a bouquet of flowers. And I welcome our security officer Naveen Kumar, who doesn't want to come. I literally forced him to come today. And I request Patra to give him a flower. And now formally I welcome all the my colleagues from CSIR-4PI, CSIR-NAL and the students who are the backbone of our organization and the temporary staff who work day and night to otherwise also for organization and to make this event a success. So I would like to say few words about Fourth Paradigm Institute because I will not go into detail because we are going to play a video, a glimpse of our activities later on when we inaugurate OWOL. So I just want to say a few words. We are a fourth paradigm organization. Basically, we are meant to do data-driven translational research across CSIR, and we are the only data science lab of CSIR. So that is the reason this OWOL, when it was, we were given these dates by headquarters in December itself. So actually Honorable Minister Jitendra Singh was very keen to come here because for him this is the only data science lab of CSIR, but initially agreed and then last minute there was some preoccupation, he could not come. However, even our Director General who was supporting us very much, Dr. N. Kalai Selvi, she is also out of country. So what she did was she came for the curtain raiser of OWOL before she left because she was very keen that she should participate in our OWOL program. So we had a curtain raiser event just 2 weeks back before the main event today. So we had that time press briefing and all that, and then we had the curtain raiser event. So we are supposed to be a horizontal across all CSIR labs, and we are also supposed to be hosting the supercomputing facility for the whole of CSIR. So these are our two mandates. So we, anyway, you would be seeing a video. So we have two divisions. One is data science and supercomputing, and the other one is our traditional. When we were CMAX, we had a strong base of earth and engineering sciences, which we continue to have, and we want to nurture it because that is a very strong, we have a very strong niche expertise in that area. So this is with these few words, I once again welcome you, because I will not talk about 4PI because we will see it in the video. So that should be kind of this thing. So don't want to repeat it. Okay, again, once again, warm welcome.
Thank you, ma'am, for welcoming the August gathering. Now, we will go for the inauguration of our OWOL week. I request Dr. Yajnik to please click on the button to have a glimpse of our OWOL activity. Just click on the play. On the play, ma'am. Mouse is on. Yes. It's okay, ma'am. I think anywhere if you click. Yes, yes, correct. Yes.
One Week, One Lab is a countrywide initiative of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research following the suggestion of Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Union Minister of Science and Technology in December 2022 to showcase the technological breakthroughs and scientific innovations of the CSIR Laboratories. CSIR 4th Paradigm Institute, also known as CSIR-4PI, a constituent laboratory of CSIR, is organizing this campaign during July 10 to 15, 2023, which will culminate with the Foundation Day celebration of CSIR-4PI on July 15, 2023.
Our institute is one of the youngest and vibrant organizations of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. We have two research divisions. One is data science and supercomputing, and the other one is earth and engineering sciences. So the data science and supercomputing division hosts supercomputing facility for the whole of CSIR.
Currently, we are hosting a new supercomputer called CHAMP.
This new supercomputing facility will cater to the traditional as well as AI computing computational needs of CSIR laboratories.
We have been working on indigenous design, development and deployment of a cyberspace surveillance technology called the network telescope. We have designed our own simulator, vehicular simulator, using open source tools. So we have set up a vehicular ad hoc network based on Jetithouse, where we can do lots of tests, we can do lots of experimentations.
We are collaborating with multiple CSIR labs for conducting different kind of artificial intelligence, machine learning activities.
Earth and engineering sciences, this is the one division where we have very niche expertise, whether it comes to GPS based geoscience research or earthquake hazard and computational psychology, ocean modeling, then climate modeling, and impact of climate change in various sectors like agriculture, health, extreme rainfall events, etc. So we work very closely with all disaster management agencies of the country, like starting with our Karnataka State Disaster Management Agency, then we work with Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and then we work with Bihar, and in Himalayas we work with Kulu, Almora, and Ladakh.
We are running a network for broadband facilitation and geofixation in Kashmir Himalayas, which is basically to understand how the earthquakes are clustering or propagating in the area.
This is CSIR mission on region-specific smart agro technologies for enhancing soil and plant. This program, CSIR-4PI, is the nodal agency. So the goal is to provide crop-specific solutions in the form of intervention strategies to the input control and the farmers.
To nurture and empower future researchers and professionals in the field of science and engineering, CSIR created ACSIR.
The ACSIR will provide doctoral degree to the students. Mainly students work on the interdisciplinary research.
CSIR Jigyasa is an initiative that happens across all 37 labs, and here we have done some really path-breaking work in making the students know what are we doing here.
CSIR Integrated Skill Initiative is a PEN CSIR project. Under this program, basically we conduct three kind of trainings. One is SPAR. So in this, students can apply for an internship. The other training is industrial visit, and third kind of training is the advanced training.
At CSIR 4th Paradigm Institute, we are driven by a shared passion for scientific excellence and innovation. With our interdisciplinary approach and state-of-the-art infrastructure, we are dedicated to making groundbreaking discoveries and solving challenges that impact society.
Next 10 years, our focus is to become one-stop destination for the data science needs of CSIR and a center of excellence for AI, ML and DL needs of the country.
The inauguration of a centralized CSIR supercomputing facility by Dr. N. Kalaiselvi, Director General CSIR and Secretary DSIR. Of 1 week, 1 lab program, CSIR-4PI has planned to organize the events like Scientist-Student Connect, Interaction with College Youth, Stakeholders Connect, Academia Industry Panel Discussion, and Roadshow and Open Day for Farmers. 1 week, 1 lab campaign will conclude with the celebration of our Foundation Day on July 15, 2023.
Well, that was a small glimpse of our CSIR 4PI activities and 1 week, 1 lab program that we are going to schedule in the coming days. Now I request Professor Annapurni ma'am to please click on the button and release our OWOL brochure. Yes, ma'am. You can just click on that. Well, that was the event that we are going to take during the OW week that's going to come now. Now I request Dr. Imtiaz Ahmad Parvez, our Chief Scientist and also Chairman of our co-committee of OWOL, to give a brief of our OWOL programs.
Very good morning to all. Respected Professor K.S. Yajnik, Founder Head CSIR 4PI, formerly CMAX, and the chief guest of today's 1 week, 1 lab inaugural event. Guest of eminence, Professor Annapurni Subramaniam, Director, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Dr. Shri Devi Jade, our Head CSIR 4PI, Dr. Abhay Pashelkar, Director CSIR NL, Dr. Narahari Shastri, Director NIST Jorhat, Dr. Vidyavasar Mudkavi, our former head, Professor V.K. Gaur, Dr. Purnima Rupal, Mr. Vinu Jade, who is our close friend after long time I seeing him, and all other dignitaries present here, dear colleagues,
friends, students, and other guests who have joined us here and also who are watching us live on YouTube. As you heard in the inaugural video and also by Radha ma'am, 1 week, 1 lab is a countrywide initiative of CSIR following the suggestion of Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to showcase the technological breakthroughs, achievements, and scientific innovations of all the CSIR laboratories. The campaign is a unique initiation to reach out to the people of India about the success stories of CSIR laboratories across the nation. This event at CSIR-4PI has started with the curtain raiser event on 21st June 2023. We were really honored that Dr. N. Kalaisalvi, DG CSIR and Secretary DSIR had visited us and graced the occasion as a chief guest. She inaugurated our newly installed CSIR centralized high performance computing facility named CHAMP, that is CSIR HPC AI and ML platform. And today we have already inaugurated. You saw the video and our agenda by our founder head, Professor Yajnik. So I will just briefly give the what we are going to do for next 1 week. So after the inauguration, today we will start with our first event that is called Scientist Student Connect for school children who are our future scientists through interaction of scientists and researchers of CSIR-4PI to inculcate the temper of science. The focus will be on demonstration of R&D initiatives in various areas that includes GPS, computational seismology, cybersecurity, climate modeling, etc. And they are basically aligned to the Jigyasa program of CSIR. The activities will be combined with lectures, practical sessions designed for the level of school children. Tomorrow, that is day 2, our campaign will focus on college youth interaction aligned to the skill development program of CSIR, where students from 3 different colleges, 2 from Bangalore and 1 women engineering college from Mysore, are participating. These interested students from varying domains will get to know about our research activities and the facilities. There will be scientists and youth interaction on various aspects of data sciences, along with the high performance computing, cybersecurity, and our infrastructure facilities demonstration. A workshop is also planned by our industry partner AMD on high performance computing. Day 3, that is July 13, is dedicated to interaction with stakeholders and state agencies. And this event will be hosted by our long-term state government partner and collaborator, Karnataka State Natural Disaster Monitoring Center, that is called KSNDMC in Yelahanka, Bangalore. So interactive meetings are planned with the state government agencies and the collaborators. Several partners, stakeholders, collaborators like KSNDMC, National Bureau of Soil Science and Lab Use Project, University of Agricultural Sciences from Bangalore and Dharwad, and VC Form All India Coordinated Research Project on Rice from Bangalore University will actively participate in this event. We shall also explore new avenues for collaboration and the perspective for future actions. Next day, day 4, that is July 13, is a kind of very big event for us because there will be a lot of participants dedicated to academia, industry, R&D connects will come. The meet is to engage the scientists, academicians, and industry leaders that includes MSME and startups, along with our PhD scholars for science and technology interaction. This event is aimed to build a strong relationship in partnership with MSME, in-house R&D units, academic and research institutes in the field of earth and engineering sciences, data sciences, AI, ML, and cybersecurity, etc. There will be a roundtable panel discussion in the afternoon, and there will be more scientific presentations. We are also planning to have 2 MOUs signed between different collaborative research institutes. Science outreach and roadshow is planned on day 5 to showcase our research achievements along with societal applications at different educational institutes in Bangalore. A group of scientists and students from CSIR-4PI will be visiting Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering and Vemna Institute of Technology. The planned activities include the oral and poster presentations, technology demonstrations, interaction with students and faculties on data sciences, cybersecurity, network security, natural disasters, climate and weather modeling, and engineering sciences. And we are hopeful that these activities will encourage and motivate these young minds to take up in-depth research of science and technology as their career. On the final day, that is day 6, we will be having the awareness program come farmers, students, scientists interaction in the first half. It will be the kind of open day for farmers. We are expecting farmers, postgraduate and PhD students from University of Agriculture Sciences, Bangalore, to discuss the critical issues and challenges in the farming environment. This is a campaign to create awareness on challenges faced by farming community in real farm environment condition and to showcase how science and technology based implementable solutions can address these challenges. There will be technical presentations, field implementable agro-technology showcase, and demonstration of handheld instruments for agricultural field measurements. So the whole event is, we are a small lab, we have very limited resources, but all our colleagues, all our scientists are taking very active participation in this event. And for each event, we have a dedicated event coordinators. For example, today, the coordinator is Mrs. Pavitra. Tomorrow, Dr. Ashish will be coordinating the scientist youth interaction. Third day, we are working with KSNDMC, where Dr. Rakesh is collaborating with KSNDMC scientists, and we are going to KSNDMC to have this event. Fourth day, Dr. K.C. Gowda is taking in charge of all this interaction with academia, industry, and MSME. Fifth day, which is our roadshow, where Dr. K.C. Gowda, Dr. Ashish, from OWOL committee, these two are leading that day. And then final day, Dr. K.V. Ramesh and Dr. Rakesh will be taking charge for this. And this whole event is very closely monitored and taken care by our head, Dr. Sridevi Jade, who is taking very, very minute details for all this program. And of course, Office of Head is our backbone. So let us hope that we will have a wonderful and vibrant week in coming days. So after the 6 days in the afternoon, we will have a Foundation Day celebration, and then we will conclude our OWL campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving a brief of our program. Now, before we go ahead with address of our guest of eminence, I would like to give a brief introduction of ma'am. Professor Annapurni Subramaniam is the director of Indian Institute of Astrophysics, that's located in Koramangala, Bangalore. Her major field of research are star clusters, star formation, pre-MS stars, galactic structure, Magellanic clouds, stellar population, etc. She was a research fellow and also got a postdoctoral fellow at Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and also she did her PhD in the same institute, and that in the year 1996. Some of her projects which has been handled by now are emission light stars in star clusters, star formation, history of young star clusters, accurate photometry of unstudied open clusters, halo of the small Magellanic cloud, and many more. The list continues quite long, so I have just made a brief of it. Now, may I request Professor Annapurni ma'am to give her address to our family members of 4PI. Would you like to come here, ma'am, or use the mic there? whichever you feel comfortable.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, and thanks to your director, Dr. Sridevi Chere, for inviting me here, and respected Yagnik sir and Gaur sir. We know Professor Gaur for a very long time. He was a long associate with Indian Institute of Astrophysics. And we have Dr. Pashilkar. He's a member of our governing council, and I know Professor Mutkavi, so we have had interactions a couple of times earlier. And of course, I know many of your faculty members, because we have a long-standing MOU as well as working relationship where many of your instruments are placed in our Hon'ble facility, Kodaikanal and Crest, the Hosokote campus. And recently we did have one of your Gigyasa program in Crest campus, and we are planning to organize one very soon in the Leh Ladakh region as well. So we have been collaborating on various aspects. To give a few words regarding what is Indian Institute of Astrophysics, we kind of started off as an observatory in Madras in 1786, and was in Nungambakam as a Madras observatory from 1790s onwards, functioning there to study the sun and various planetary things like planets like Venus, etc. Various Venus transits were recorded from there, and of course the solar eclipse, and in the mid 1800, the solar eclipse which happened there in Andhra Pradesh, actually in Nellore region. The spectrum of the corona was recorded, and that led to the discovery of helium, and that and the other spectra were analyzed, and later on people realized that that's actually the element helium. So a lot of interesting science has been done from there. And later in 1899, the observatory was moved to Kodaikanal, and 1899 onwards we have been operating that observatory, and it is next year it will be completing 125 years. And from 1904 onwards we have been studying the sun, taking the images of the sun, and of course in the white light as well as in various filters, and this data has been taken and preserved. You can imagine more than 100 years ago the technology used to take images, and if you keep your photographic plate for a couple of years in unprotected situation, you can have all sorts of fungus and everything. You can't even see anything there. But these are protected and kept in very good condition. And all these, the technology has changed quite a bit in the last 120 years, though that is the case, but we have been able to preserve it, and not only preserve it, but digitize each of these plates and calibrate it, because calibration is extremely important, because without which you cannot even do a proper science. So all these are made available through our web portal, and all this data is publicly available to do research. And you might wonder, why do you want to do 100 years of data or 125 years of data? You see the sun every day and it's more or less the same. So what are you trying to do? It's not that. The sun, you probably know, is active sometimes and less active sometimes. And this is an activity cycle sun goes through, which is about 11-year period. And if you want to study the activity of the sun over various cycles, then it multiplies into, decades. So if you want to do a long-term variability of the sun, you need decades of data, and which is actually made available from us. And then in 1971, we became an autonomous institute under the name Indian Institute of Astrophysics. Now the observatory in Kodaikanal continues as one of our field stations as the solar observatory of the Kodaikanal. Then we expanded into nighttime astronomy, because the study of sun is the daytime astronomy, into the nighttime astronomy, and more telescopes, bigger digitized devices for capturing the data. And there we actually, astronomy entered into the data volume increase, and requirement of data science, requirement of software which is required for data analysis, and not only that, bringing data under one compatible mode, because you had by that time, 80s and 70s and 80s, we were setting up lots of observatories across the electromagnetic spectrum on the ground, and various data is coming, and there was a dire requirement to combine this data across the wavelength. And then we had lots of, NASA started launching several satellites. They were also beaming down data, and the data had to be made public, because that is also data democratization had to be done. So everything together demanded, not only generating data in a proper format with all sorts of the metadata is available so that you can actually combine them, and also tools and techniques where people can actually access the data and do some analysis. So, what I'm trying to say is that the relation from where we come as astronomers and astrophysicists, the data is extremely important, but the dissemination of data is another important thing to do. And when you disseminate this information, you have to disseminate in a useful way where people can actually use it. And along with that, the tools and techniques are also important. So now in an era where data is it's a data deluge actually. So you don't know, you can do anything you want, but you don't know where to start and what to do, how to do. So these days where we have missions where lots of intelligence on board for process the data to download, because enough generated data is there that you can't downlink everything, because the downlink is choked. So you have to process that, and so intelligence is there on board to process the data, and the data downloads here. And then this data is actually, you can't have everybody wanting a HPC on their desks to analyze. You can't download the data and then I need HPC, everybody needs an HPC because the volume is too high, I can't do this. So the next step people are looking forward to is not everyone having an HPC, but the centers, data centers, or where the archival takes place themselves have a facility to, you park your data for a little while, run the algorithm there, and then download only the analyzed data. So all of my students do the same thing, because too much of data you can't download here and then process everything individually. That's not a viable idea. So what I'm trying to say is that astronomy with this data deluge actually is kind of creating pathways and also guidelines where one can actually effectively use this data, disseminate it, as well as increase the number of users. So I think you may also be facing a similar issues with climate, the data available with respect to whatever, temporal variations of various clouds, various parameter, temperature, etc. So you also have lots of temporal studies with respect to various things. So not only spatial data, temporal data also is very large. So there is a lot of similarity between us and, what we do in the Institute, Astronomy and Astrophysics, and what we are doing here. Another point I wanted to make is that regarding OWOL, it's a very interesting concept, and it's important that we communicate to the public, and all the more so because I'm also a head of another institution, and I also understand that is how important it is for the people to know about the activities which are done in our institute as well. But then it's very easy to say that, okay, you go ahead and talk to people and explain what you have done. It's extremely easy to say, but then when you actually try to communicate, it's very, very hard, because you don't know where to stop, because you would have done so much of nitty-gritties into it. Now you think that the nitty-gritties and the details are extremely important and you have to convey it. But when you start into those details, people do not understand any of this. So you have to simplify it in such a way that it actually conveys the soul of the work you've done, but not exactly the details. So it's a technique you need to develop, and it doesn't come overnight. So for some people it comes extremely easily, some people it doesn't come extremely easily at all. So we also go through this, because though astronomy and astrophysics is extremely interesting and wow kind of a part is there, but then when you actually start talking about it, people go into the grand details and just zoned out, right? The audience is zoned out. So you have to have a constant interaction, constant steps taken towards communication. Anything you do, you have to write it in a paragraph where it is actually communicable, or talk where you can actually talk across completely different people and try to say that, okay, in 5 minutes, can I convey to you what I have done? So this have to be consciously inculcated, and so that you have a team of people. And Of course, over the years, we have developed a outreach team. So we call it a SCOPE, which stands for Science Communication Outreach and Public Education. It's called SCOPE. So SCOPE is, connects to telescope as well. So SCOPE team gets involved, and we also have actually trainees and short-term people who come in, and because it is important to communicate to the younger generation, because they are going to come into your field in the future. And for us to relate to the younger generation, we don't know how they think. It's important for them to think for themselves. So you need to have some younger generation people along with you, so you know how to communicate to them. So that has helped in the last year or so with us. And another thing is, we have this centers across the country, and everywhere we have this small visitor center. So we can bring in people and talk to them. So we do it over weekly period over the entire year, sometimes on a basis. But I think OWOL is a very interesting concept. It could be adopted by any organization, because at least you have a dedicated 1-week program to do this, and you will not miss it. Because always you'll think that, okay, we can do it. And suddenly a couple of years have gone by, and you don't know that, oh my God, this time is gone. So you haven't done it. So I think putting a placeholder for that and doing it is extremely important. I hope you all enjoy doing it. It's a different aspect or different dimension of what you do. It is important these days. So don't think that, you are pressurized to spend your time on something which you don't like, but it's become integral part of yourself. It needs to be. So enjoy yourself, and I wish you all the very best for this week and all your activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for showing and throwing a glimpse on solar eclipse things, analyzing of your data, how you are digitalizing and compilation of data of astrophysics, and also dissemination of the same. Now, before we go with the address of our chief guest, I'd like to give a brief introduction of Dr. Yajnik. Of course, all of you are very familiar with him, no need of any introduction. Just to brush up about his previous thing, I'd like to give a small brief. Dr. Yajnik is the former head and founder of our formerly known CMAX, now CSIR-4PI. He did his education at Gujarat and at Ahmedabad, and his PhD in mechanical engineering from the University of California. His main core interest areas are fluid mechanics, dynamical systems, large-scale modeling of oceans, and high-performance computing and networking. He has fellowship with Indian Academy of Science, Institution of Engineers, Aeronautical Society of India, Indian Geophysical Union, and Gujarat Academy of Sciences. He has worked as associate professor at IIT Kanpur and as scientist and at CSIR-NL, and has worked as head CMAX from 1988 to 1996. He has the ability to solve problems of ocean-related uptake of CO2 by marine ecosystems in upper ocean and transferring carbon to greater depths with other scientists, and developing new methods for climate change problems, developing simple mathematical models for behavior of large systems, and also mentoring some fellows of Indian Academy of Sciences. Now he is associated with us as our honorary scientist, and he still continues to guide our scientists of CSIR-4PI. Dr. Yajnik, sir, please, we request for your address.
Is that distance a problem?
No, I think it's fine.
Good morning to all of you. Dr. Annapurni Subramaniam, Dr. Sridevi, Dr. Parvez, Professor Gaur, Dr. Butkavi, Director NAL, distinguished guests, and dear colleagues. When I was asked to be chief guest, I didn't know that I will have to talk a little bit. But then I realized when I saw the program that I will have to make some comments, some remarks. So I was thinking what I should talk about. So one area of course, There is a lot of echo. I think the other thing should be switched off, I think. Otherwise, I will go there. There is no problem. Okay. I hope this is better. So what I was thinking was that how we got started, I can talk about it. Then I thought I could talk about those things that I've been doing. And then I thought I may be talking about some concepts about data which is related to climate, with which I have been working for the last few years. But and I actually wrote up some things also, but I found out that it is still not, this echo is too bad. I will go there. I think this should be switched off.
You'll do it.
I hope this is better. Okay, so let me just recapitulate. I was thinking about what I should talk about. So one was about how we got started. Just to give an idea about how things were, you know, this is before the Cold War ended, 88. This was a time there were a lot of sanctions on India. We couldn't buy reasonable size computers. So, you know, it is that time. You know, Manmohan Singh had not come as a finance minister. This Cold War had not ended. So, you see, that was the time when we started. So, from that, we have come a long, long way. But I don't want to go into all the things because I think today maybe I should talk about other things. Other thing that I could talk about is what work that I have been doing. Both before retirement and after retirement, but I thought even that may not be suitable for this occasion. So what I'm going to talk about is related to the program that is mentioned for today, that is scientist-student interaction. And what I'm going to talk about is my personal experience of my interaction with students. So over the years, I have had interactions of three types. First was as a teacher in IIT Kanpur. And I used to teach undergraduate and postgraduate students. So courses of various kinds and so on. So I was freshly out of university. I had just a PhD and so young faculty member. So it was a very nice experience. You know, the IIT kids are very bright. Then the second type of experience was directing the research work of MTech students. Now I think it is known that the MTech students are not in the same category as the undergraduates. But it was a very rewarding experience because many of the MTech theses got published in good journals, and you won't believe it. I also find it difficult to believe, but after 50 years, these papers are cited. Therefore, they cannot be too bad. So, in India, good work is being done, although it may not be acknowledged, but we should not worry about it. There is a lot of good work done, but it is not known. It is good work known by many, many criteria. So we have to develop a certain measure of self-confidence. The third thing, which is the most interesting part, is what I've been doing in the last 10 years or so. There is a program of 3 science academies in which the students are selected for summer fellowship. So they come here and spend time with us and on some specific project and do some work. Now, this has been a program where I have guided typically 1 student per year for summer, and it has been the most rewarding program for me. And I just want to cite some examples out of this, because I think this is probably the most appropriate for the day. One student, Dhruv Durvasala, was here. He was from BITS Pilani. He came for this program, and he was interested in working on tsunamis. Then he got interested in waves and so on and so forth. Then he added on and stayed here for 6 more months as a student under a scheme that Pilani had. So the whatever work he did was counted for his academic program. And he became very much interested in internal waves. Now, you know, we see waves on the surface of the ocean, but people don't realize that there are internal waves, and they can be very large. And there can be what are called freak waves, you know, which can come all of a sudden, then become huge, and they can cause a lot of damage. Other thing is that just as the surface waves break, the internal waves also break, and they lead to turbulence. So, you know, it is not a simple thing. Now, this young man had a lot of abilities. He had very good mathematical grasp, you know, equations, solutions, methods, and so on. In addition, he could understand and learn very quickly how to program. He wrote programs and so on and so forth. In addition to that, he had the ability to dig up literature and go to really good papers, and he would bring to my notice. So, you know, I mean, a degree of enthusiasm, an ability to search, locate, judge, and many things were there. Now, obviously, this whole thing was a very good experience for him. His field was chemical engineering. But he switched to oceanography. He went to University of Florida, got a PhD, and then worked in the field of ocean research and so on and so forth. Was a postdoc in Washington University, and now he is an assistant professor in Lamont, a major lab in the US. This is one example. Another example is one Surya Abhishek, a physics undergraduate, who came, and he was willing to work on, you know, practical problems, but starting from scratch. So we started looking at the problem of Indian railways. And I said at that time, there were a lot of problems of derailment. Now, there are lots and lots of derailment that take place, and many of the derailments took place away from the stations. So the kind of problems that we hear about was not there. They took place on straight stretches of track. So the question was, what is involved? So I thought that there can be dynamics at work, and there can be oscillations and instabilities and things like that. So for this purpose, one should understand the natural modes of vibrations and, you know, natural frequencies and so on. So we have to model a train, and the Indian trains were long, you know. So the question is, how does the length of the train affect the natural frequency and so on. So starting from scratch, models are built, you know, about the friction on the wheels and the aerodynamic drag, and everything was put in based on the various things within 8 weeks. And the programs were written, actually we got some results about how the number of coaches affect the natural frequencies of the train. A very nice, very rewarding experience both for me and him. Then, of course, he went abroad and he did things which are completely different. He was working in some areas related to making of chips. Now he is going to come back and he is looking for opportunities in IIT Bombay. So this is a kind of trajectory of a young student. Another example. A girl came called Divya Gautam. Now she was very unusual in the sense that she was an American citizen. Indian girl, Indian parents, but she was born in the US when the parents were in the US. And she had undergone through schooling in the US. And it was very interesting because for me, because I've seen a lot of, young students, male and female both. Compared to the Indian students, she was far more confident and she had very good clarity of purpose. She knew what she wanted to do. And she said that I want to study linear systems. I was quite surprised. I said, why of all things linear systems? After some time, the answer came that her father told her that there are good openings in economics area. So if you do economic models, many of them are linear models. So that would make good sense. So I said, look, I don't work in the economic model area. So I work in things connected to the atmosphere, ocean, and that sort of thing. So eventually we settled on a problem where there is a deep convection taking place in the Central Pacific, which has effects which are felt far beyond the tropics. So there was a question of model. So somebody had done a model, there is a famous Guild model for it, and so on and so forth. So started from that, and when the model was developed, there was a lot of stress on analytic methods. So analytic methods were involved, and she went through the whole thing and studied a lot and got results. This was very interesting because from the point of view of people who know about the atmosphere, it had Rossby waves in it, Kelvin waves in it, and so on and so forth. And from a mathematical point of view, it involved very obscure things called parabolic cylindrical functions. Something that I didn't know much about. I studied and she studied and so on and so forth. So a very rewarding experience. Then subsequently she went on to join some Indian Institute of Management to do, so I suppose, go into business or something like that. This is another thing. The fourth example, the last one, is probably the most interesting of all. This happened after COVID. The boy's name was Rochan Das, young chap, 20-year-old, mathematics second-year undergraduate from somewhere near Delhi. He wanted to work in what is called nonlinear dynamical systems. And he had two strong points. One was that he had got the earlier background preparation based on a book, a good modern book written last year by a very eminent person and a very beautiful book. So basically, he started from a very good pedestal. Second thing was that he had a pretty good skill in writing programs in Python. So that was so I suggested to him that you work on what is called Lorentz model. Now this Lorentz model is very important for CMAX because that is what really started the whole thing. Now, so I must tell you a little bit about this. Lorentz was a meteorologist, and he wrote a paper which is called Aperiodic Deterministic Flow, in which he showed that there is a very simple looking set of equations, 3 ordinary equations, with only 2 nonlinear terms, and this modeled a convection of a certain kind. And the strange thing about it was what we call now chaos. This completely deterministic, terribly simple looking model, the solutions behaved in a way which was completely unforeseen. And they could, so even a small change in the initial conditions would have very large effects at large times. So this model, Lorentz's model, is extensively referred to. The citation number, if you see Google, when I saw it last time several years back, 20,000, which is astonishing. 20,000 citations is fantastic. So it has affected a large number of areas, and it affected people here. Professor Narasimha, Professor Gore, me, and so on. So we came to realize that you can describe very complicated behavior, very complicated phenomena, but by using simple mathematical models, simple looking, provided they are nonlinear. The thing is that in order to make this investigation, you have to use computer-based methods. And fortunately, around this time, the computer power really started increasing. So everything became feasible. So that is, so we realized that by using this, one can attack these problems of several disciplines. So there may be, you can take things from one discipline and apply to other discipline. So you have a lot of advantages of doing it, and that is why the center was established. And of course, it had to have the backbone of high performance computing. So that is how we got started. But this boy was quite enterprising, and of course, a couple of students had done work earlier. So I said that, look, we should not just repeat what has been done before, so let's try to do something more. So now you see, in a case like this, some of you know that there is, when you have a dynamical system, after large time, in principle, it can go to something like an equilibrium, some final steady state. So this system has 3 equilibrium points. But you see, in a certain stage of a certain range of parameters, all the equilibrium states are unstable. So it is tied with this instability of equilibrium states. And if you look at the equilibrium states, they depend on parameters. One of them is what is called the Rayleigh number. Now, Rayleigh number is a major parameter that affects convection. Convection is extremely important in both in ocean as well as in the atmosphere, and it takes place over very several orders of magnitude variations are there. So now the fixed point, the equilibrium states depend on the parameters. So I said, look, there is a way of transforming the system into another system, equivalent system, that you can go back and forth, where the equilibrium points are independent of parameters. It was shown, done. Then you do the simulations. All this thing was done in 8 weeks. Now this is a time just after COVID, and things were just getting organized here. And as luck would have it, he didn't have good health, so he fell sick a couple of times. So a couple of weeks were lost just in that. Despite that, he produced results, and I think they are publishable. You need to do work on it, but in principle, they are of that kind. So you see, a lot of things can be done, and this is a one-to-one interaction where essentially some stimulation comes from me, but a lot of work is done by the students, and it depends very much on his interests, his motivation, and his energy, you see. So, and of course, he benefits a great deal from it. But I also benefit. It was a very stimulating experience for me. And so I think that scientist-student interaction is very beneficial, both ways. But I think it need not be very limited kind. It has to be a little bit more than that. And maybe this week, people will have an opportunity of establishing contacts and carry on the interaction over a period of time, because it takes some time to develop ideas. Things go back and forth and so on and so forth. This place has tremendous amount of strength. The facilities are fantastic, physical facilities, both hardware and software, both the things. In addition to that, there is tremendous amount of expertise of various kinds, in earth sciences, in computing, and data analysis, data science, and what you have you. So the expertise is available. The students have to learn, or other people also have to learn how to make use of the thing. So you have to establish some contacts. So I think there is a tremendous amount of potential, and maybe this week may be a good opportunity to start a few things. Good luck and enjoy the week.
we are actually supposed to have one press interaction. Due to our OWOL other schedules, we had to postpone it to the second half of the day. Now we have come to the end of the program of today's event. I request Dr. Patra sir to please propose vote of thanks.
So the honor to give the vote of thanks is given to me, so I'm very honored for that. To start with, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology to believe in the work that CSIR is doing and giving an kind of an idea, concept of the OWOL. I think it's a great idea, and Dr. Annapurni also said about that. So so I would like to thank the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, for this. The OWOL for 4PI kick-started with the current rager, which was inaugurated by Dr. Kaleshalvi, the DG CSIR and Secretary DSIR on 21st. I would like to thank her for her personal presence and motivating us for all this work that we are now doing in this week. Now I come to the dais. Professor Yajnik, wonderful speech on the way you have interacted with students. We take students only because of compulsion. We don't see this much of dedication, passion, and then the way you have analyzed the students, like what they are doing. That's very wonderful, sir. Like maybe it's a learning for us to take steps. And Lorentz equation, as even I have worked on it, the way you said, like an equivalent Lorentz system, then you try to kind of synchronize between them. I use it for cryptography, for key exchange protocols. So that Lorentz equation has multiple applications, as you said. And this 1 week long program that we are now going to showcase is actually the fruits of a tree that you had seeded in the late 80s. So I think we should thank you for that, the way you have conceptualized this CMAX and then which came out with 4PI. So thank you very much for that. As a gratitude of this contribution that you have done to 4PI, I request Dr. Sridevi Jade to present a memento to him. And Professor Annapurni Madam, we are very thankful for you to come over here. And we have purposefully avoided astrophysics in CSIR so that IIA can carry out astrophysics. But when we talk about fourth paradigm of science, the book, actually the use case is on astrophysics data. That's how the fourth paradigm of science was conceptualized by the author of the book. And of course, your contribution to CSIR and 4PI in terms of the maintenance of the tower, like GHG things, selflessly, because you don't gain anything out of it, while you have actually hosting all our instruments there. And also, I know the SUSR relationship. I think IIA is right now associated with ACSIR. So that's the academic wing of CSIR. So yes. So these are the kind of connections. Your presence here will actually strengthen our collaboration further. So thank you very much for coming here and then grace the occasion. I request Dr. Sridevi to give a memento. So it would be a mistake for me if I miss thanking the pillar behind us, our beloved head CSIR-4PI, Dr. Sridevi Jade. So thank you very much for your dynamic leadership and shaping of the institute at this point of time. And we have a large number of dignitaries present off the dais as well. So I would, and their contribution to 4PI is also immense. So I would like to thank them also, each of them, in recognition of their contribution. And in it, as a token of appreciation, we would like to give them a memento as well. So Professor V.K. Gaur, a contemporary to Dr. Yajnik, and always be like, now they sit together at 4PI, and we used to meet on lunch and discuss lots of things, like enlightened by the discussions and all. So he has been a great support for us. I request Mr. R.P. Tangavelu to honor him with a memento. I would like to now thank Dr. Narahari Sastry, Director NIST. I understand he is now the senior most directors in CSIR now. And has been a big supporter of for CSIR-4PI for the progress. So I request Ms. Sarada to honor him with a memento. NIL's contribution towards building up CSIR-4PI has been very huge. Today we have Dr. Abhay Pasilkar, Director NIL. I request Dr. Anil Kumar to honor him with a memento. Yeah, I should go. He's the youngest director, most probably. I was not sure, so that's why I didn't say that. We have with us Dr. Vidyadhar Mutkavi, our previous head. Mutkavi sir, now your turn. Who is still contributing to the progress of CSIR-4PI. So I request Dr. Parvez to honor him with a memento. Professor Annapurni Madam, you talked about science communication and all, and we have our head of science communication division of CSIR, Dr. Purnima Rupal, who will be completing her tenure this month, is what I understand. So we have a special felicitation to her. So I request her to come on to the dais, please. This.
Because when I took charge as head 4PI, I had no clue whenever I used to go to headquarters, because we had a lot of issues at headquarters to be solved, and she was always there for me, full time. Right? So it's my honor to. That time she was head DGED, and then I was the novice. I didn't know anything there, so it was very hard for me to navigate. It's a pleasure. Making me emotional. Yes. That's the whole idea, like. Oh. Thank you so much. She treated me so nicely, like, I didn't know anything when I went to headquarters. I used to go alone.
I happen to know most of the senior people here because I've been with CSIR almost 25 years now. So when you took over, you founded CMAX, and I joined CSIR sometime in '97. So probably you were still around and you just left. And Annapurni ma'am, I have been interacting with her in my avatar as CEFIPA director. So we did a virtual conference, and those were the COVID days. So, but I think I haven't had the opportunity to meet you since, and nice meeting you again, physically of course, and my colleagues from the CSIR fraternity. We get to meet very often, and they're all very dear to me. I mean, and Professor Kaul, of course, I have some of your, we hear your name always in discussions. Thank you all in this lovely moment. I'll cherish it. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now I thank Dr. Parvez and the whole team of OWOL for the organizing committee, OWOL organizing committee, for meticulous planning and conducting of this week-long event. It's very well planned, well designed program, so hopefully people will like it. I thank all the heads of the divisions of NL and CSIR-4PI who have always stood with us in this journey, so I thank all of them. I special thanks to the EBU, horticulture, electrical and security from NL. Naveen is here and then Raghu is here, so thank you very much for that and supporting us. I thank the press for covering this event starting from the curtain raiser time, and we also have a special guest, Mr. Vinu Jade. I am seeing first time at 4PI. I've been meeting him elsewhere, but at 4PI. I think you are the strength for Dr. Sridevi. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming today. And I thank Miss Sweta. Strength. She is behind. No, we don't know who is behind whom, so we have to.
I used to spend a lot of time here during Dr. Yardstick.
Yes.
Behind the growth of any business. No madam is behind her.
So I thank Ms. Sweta for a wonderful invocation. And in the end, I thank the whole team of 4PI, including the administration, purchase, finance, TMD, office of head, and all permanent and temporary staff for the support for this contribution. So we are coming to the end of the event. Now let us stand up for a national anthem. जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Thank you.
I request you all to please join for tea, and I request our main people to come for group photo. I request the OWOL core committee members to please come on the dais for a group photo.
You're out of frame, boss. Out of frame. Yeah.